down to Biscayne.
Yikes. 5 on the floor, ride for my dogs. Where here's the thing, you can check the score. Hustle hard, couple scars, wearing rubber frauds. Just like Butler said, you in trouble, y'all. Kept the floor playing, got it all banned. Y'all seen the block, stop with one hand. And Pat we trust, it's power, have the guts. We're here to bring the heat, y'all can hang it up.
Welcome to 5 on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, and Alex Toledo, plus others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Welcome back to the latest episode of 5 on the Floor Live. I am your host, Greg Sylvander, coming at you directly following the Miami Heat's gut-wrenching loss to the Indiana Pacers. Tonight's floor plan on 5 on the Floor Live with me is Sean Rochester. You can follow him on Twitter at SRochesterNBA. And essentially, we're not gonna spend a lot of time here, guys. I'll be honest with you. I don't have much to say other than this is shaping up to be one of the more frustrating seasons I've ever seen in quite some time. And it's just every moment you think things are turning around, they end up not. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that, get into this game specifically that was entertaining in moments, and maybe throw around a few other fun questions just to lighten the mood a little bit. Before we do, want to tell you about a great sponsor of 5 Reasons Sports Network and 5 on the Floor, particularly our post-game shows, and that's Aggressive Insurance. So Lynette is a huge friend of the program. Aggressive Insurance, 954-581-8800, the insurance agency that works for you. A host of different insurance carriers that she works with right there in the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. She will help you if you have a bad driving record, no driver refused, free consultations right over the phone. You definitely want to reach out to Aggressive Insurance at 954-581-8800 or check out insurancebylynette.com. That's her great resource, the website. So check out Aggressive Insurance, 954-581-8800. Oh, Sean, what the hell are we going to say here?
I really think things are going in the right direction. We're competing very hard.
They're going to get really pissed at you if you keep going along with on this. I guess I'll say this. And I mentioned this in a chat that we're in. And I said, like, it's really tough when I feel like things are going well and there's lots of stuff I'm seeing that I like. And then I end up looking up and they're losing, looking up and they're losing. And then they end up having this feverish comeback at the end. Tyler made some big plays. There were other stuff that happened late that I thought was huge for them that made them obviously get to tie it up there. And then they get their hearts ripped out by Tyrese Halliburton, who had his worst game as an Indiana Pacer against the Heat about a week ago and came back and really followed that up big time. Sean, initial reactions to this gut-wrenching loss. I'm not asking for you to tell me how they're going to fix it. We're not even going to go there. I just want to know how you're feeling as a fan at this point, seeing this team fully healthy, basically, and still dropping these games to Eastern Conference playoff contenders.
Yeah, I'm glad we're past the usual question that I get on the post-game show. So we moved on to a new segment. You know what? Like, I think you give them credit for fighting back, but the hole that they dug in the third quarter, in the second half, the inability to defend the arc, giving up, what was it, 25, it seemed like, between Halliburton had 10, Buddy Hield had 7, so 17 threes to two guys that are known sharpshooters. I mean, that you just can't let that happen. And, you know, without Jimmy, you can make excuses that, yes, he wasn't out there, and maybe if he was out there, you would win that game. But at the same time, we just have to be better than what we're doing. And we keep saying that on these post-game shows. I think that last two segments, credit to Spo, great execution, getting Tyler that shot, the screen for Max and the double screen to get Tyler open, knock down the shot. I guess, and I'll ask you, Greg, why were we full court pressing in that situation? They were in the bonus, 14 seconds left. Why extend the defense in that scenario?
It's weird. I don't know if they thought that maybe they could get them to hurry up enough to where that they wouldn't get a good look, or they were. It's weird. I don't have a good answer for that because, to your point, I don't know why uh, you put that emphasis. 14 seconds left. It kind of ended up the way you thought it would anyway. So it feels like to have yourself set and maybe have an additional person flying at Halliburton would have been nice there at the end. It's tough. You talked about the run, the way that they can't stop the 3-point shot, particularly in the third quarter, the way that things went south. And this is what I keep coming back to, like Tyler Hero. He had his moments tonight, had his clutch buckets, 28 points. Kyle Lowry had a relatively good, he had a good game, 50% from the field, 21 points. I'm looking here. Jimmy, we're going to get to him in a minute, but he got 20. Bam, 18. So, I guess when I'm looking at that, if you say face value, that's what your top 4 guys are giving you. You just feel like you're going to get more of these. And this is happening night over night where they're getting certain contributions that feel like it's good enough to get a victory, but it's just like the sum is not equaling victories and they're falling further and further behind. It's a situation where they're never going to fall so far behind that they're not going to be in playoff contention. So they're just like in this rut where I don't know that they're going to be able to find a move right now. So they have to just stem this tide and they're bleeding out and it's happening game over game. How do you, as a coach, when you have a team that is already fragile and then gets punched in the mouth twice, how do you approach that? What do you even say to that group of guys to kind of keep this thing moving in a positive direction? I know that you're obviously coaching at a different level, but, in the spirit of what you have to kind of come up with, you're inspiring human beings to get through an adversity. Essentially, I'm interested to hear what the hell if you were Spo, what the hell would you be saying to these guys?
Yeah, and I think it's more than scheme. And I think you've said this before. It's very much a mentality, a competitive edge, the effort on the floor, those types of things. I don't think it's a scheme where, hey, we're going to stop running zone or switching or things like that. You can make those adjustments, but those are small details. I think it's the bigger thing right now is the mentality of the team. I know, we've hinted about maybe guys being upset about what did or did not happen, guys being out with injuries, guys being slower to come back. All this stuff is starting to kind of snowball and they just have to find a way to get out of it. But even when what did we win? 3 games in a row, 4 games in a row? And then all of a sudden you go against a team again that you should beat and you fall flat on your face again with a healthy roster without Dwayne Dedman. Now, come on, healthy roster. That's we're not going that direction. Jimmy being out in the second half, I guess you can point that way, but you just, I don't know. We just find different ways to lose every single night. And where it used to be last year, it seemed like we found different ways to win every single night.
You're right. That's so true. And that's the difference between a connected team and a team that when shit gets tough is disconnected, and it shows. They absolutely have a hangover from the Eastern Conference Finals coming up short. There's no doubt in my mind. That's part of what makes this so frustrating to watch, is that I think we all know that this team is capable of more than this and they're not getting it. And then to your point about we just see 4 wins in a row. Where this gets difficult is road victories in Oklahoma City, Houston, and San Antonio just are not equal to or greater than losing on your home floor to teams that you're directly in front of or behind in the standings in Indiana and Chicago, in back-to-back games. And now you got Minnesota and the Lakers and then you go out on the road again for a tough West Coast trip. So it's I don't have any great answers. I'm really frustrated with this team, but this is the thing. The theme of this is that we're getting to almost to a place where this team, who are we frustrated at? Nobody that I was out there tonight, am I looking at and saying, God, they suck so bad. If it weren't if they, played better, we would have been all right. And when that starts to happen more and more, Sean, like I start to feel like we're getting towards a season that's slipping away. Because even when the good shit happens, it's ending in losses. Am I overreacting? Do you feel that similar kind of pull to the season, or am I premature in my assumption or the way that it feels to me?
No, I think we played more than 30 games and there's no identity to this team. Like if you tune in on any given night, there's not one thing that you're going to get. Like great defense, great offense, great spacing, ball movement, whatever, like those generic things, there is no identity to this team. And I think that's the problem. It's partly because of the injuries. You have no consistency to your lineups, but at the same time, we've been able to manufacture that. And that's a lot of credit to Eric Spoelstra and the staff to put different guys in there and make those pieces fit into a scheme that worked last year. I think it was very much about defense. The bubble team was very much about offense. This team, it's neither of them. And that does not equate to success. I mean, that's just the God honest truth.
Yeah. This is we're not mincing words. Everyone always comes and says that, Sunshine Pumper, you and I, particularly as longstanding tenured Heat fans, have been called apologists to some degree. I don't think either one of us is sitting up here and saying that everything is sunshine and rainbows anymore. We acknowledge what is wrong here. I will maintain that I think just as bad as this has looked, it can turn around that quickly, and I will not move off that position. Speaking of positions, I have been looking to get all of my best picks in at our official daily fantasy sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Use the code 5 when you go to Prize Picks to get your initial deposit matched up to $100. Tonight, I'm going to show you the pain of a Prize Picks card, but some of what went well. Jimmy Butler, 1.5 steals. I went over. He got 2. Paolo Banchero, he was at 26.5 points in rebounds. I went over. He got 24. He was just shy of that 26.5. I'm telling you how that worked on my card so you could get an idea of how it works when you would play. You can use NBA, NFL props. It can be yards, receiving, rushing, passing yards. You can look at other sports. Basketball is what I just was talking about. You get to just basically pull your favorite players, pull your favorite stats, choose over and unders, and win money. The more players you choose on a card correctly together, you can win up to 10 times of what you bet. Use the code 5, FIVE, to get your initial deposit matched up to $100. And shout out to Sean for all he does over on Better Edge, which I'm a big part of as well. They are the official betting sponsor of 5 Reasons Sports Network. The code 5RSN will get you $20 to start your bankroll there. That's where you want to go to do all your betting. It's social platform, so you're not betting against the book, completely legal, but you'll get $20 to get started. So remember, Prize Picks, code 5, Better Edge, 5RSN for your $20 there. I've been given a tweet by Brady Hawk, Eric Spoelstra, with an update on Jimmy Butler. He sprained his ankle. He did it in the first quarter, but it was tightening up at halftime. Sean, we saw that he didn't play, the entire fourth quarter. Again, insult to injury. Like, the guy gets back and you start to feel like things are, at least you have everybody starting to play. Now he looks like he's probably going to be out. I would imagine they're going to be extra careful with this. And Duncan gets a DMP. Gabe, I thought, was active and didn't play. Maybe like some point of attack D from him. Like last year, they would have put Gabe Vincent on Tyrese Halliburton if he was available tonight, unless I missed something. Next, predict the next move that Spoelstra will try to get this thing to start to work. I'm putting you on the spot still. Predict, what is he going to try next?
Well, I mean, the Depot minutes weren't bad. I think he's progressing in the right direction. I think the Orlando Robinson experiment with Dedmon out, although box score wise nothing's going to jump out, I thought he was good. He's active. He's able to play aggressively on screens, which I thought was good. He probably needs to give you more on the rebounding department. I don't really care about baskets, but just be confident when you do shoot the ball. And I thought Haywood Highsmith was very good. He's been stringing together some good games. Haywood Highsmith deserves some credit for what he's done, and it's not just defense. He's starting to get some flow on offense, but that's never going to be his game. Those are complementary pieces. Like, they're not the reason necessarily we're going to win and lose games. I think the big problem, what is he going to do about Max? His inability to shoot. Duncan's still not playing. That's the equation that we can't figure out. We just don't have any shooting right now.
So now let's go through some comments, and then we're going to close with a more lighthearted approach to this roster. I saw someone laugh at 53 million left for Jimmy Tyrone Walker, I think your name was. I'm not laughing at that. I'd pay Jimmy that 10 times out of 10. So you are off base, sir. Throw up some comments, Manny, if you're able to, if you're on the ones and twos in a way that allows you to do that. I'd love for our viewers to see some of these comments, and we'll run through them. Sean and I will before we get up out of here. This comes from Mr. Fresco, and that's only because I can't pronounce your first name. I do apologize. Stop the post game. Let's talk about now the draft picks for 2023. Listen, if there ever was a draft where you're going to own your pick, it's 2023. I almost feel like that pick's so valuable now, Sean, that like you tell me like, oh, you could send that pick out for Duncan Robinson to get John Collins. I'm like, I don't really want to waste that pick on John Collins. Are you with me on that now?
No, I agree. Don't get me wrong. I don't think you're alluding that we should be trying to enhance the value of our 2023 pick by any means. We're going to let it play out how it is.
No.
But the value of that,
deep. Yeah.
Yeah. The value of that pick because of the draft, you definitely have to be conscious of what you're doing, because even if it's a pick, let's say we win some more games and it's somewhere in the teens, even if it's not a late lottery pick, you're going to have good players in that spot. So, and we need youth. I mean, we need young athletic guys, and that's an opportunity.
This comment comes from Mark M. False hope. Don't be deceived by Pat's organizational malpractice. Could you please just stop with the dramatics for 5 seconds, Mr. Mark M? Also, while this could be looked at as a roster that has holes and maybe needs to get younger, needs to get more athletic, needs to get longer, things like that, I challenge you to find another front office that has taken rosters that have flaws and fixed it and gotten back up to the mountaintop over and over again. This organization has done that multiple times. Go look around the league and find me the other organizations that have. So to call what anyone in the organization is doing malpractice is complete bullshit, and I'm not here for it. So thank you for your comment. Moving on to Corbs. Sean, you could take this one.
It says the Heat has the second worst scoring bench in the NBA. Last year, they were fourth. We've talked about. That's the impact of moving the sixth man of the year to the starting lineup. I did think tonight, he made that sub early of Depot in for Tyler and then brought Tyler back with the second unit. Yeah. If you're not going to change the starting group, I think that worked, although obviously didn't end in a win. I think it was an effective way to make the combinations work, at least for one night. I'd like to see it over the course of a little bit bigger sample size. But yeah, it's a great point. That's the problem we have right now.
I know. All the guys that they thought would continue to shoot as well as they did are not. Oladipo and Max, neither of them is equal to what Tyler was off the bench. And I think to Sean's point, like that is what they need to do is they need to start Tyler. You keep him in the starting lineup. That kid has improved dramatically. His offensive bag and the polish. I just don't want to hear people talk shit about Tyler here. I'll stop. Young kid. And you keep him in the starting lineup, but you find ways to stagger, I think is the way we approach this. Let's get another comment going. This is from Van Lee. Shout out to Van Lee. This is a terrible season to try and tank halfway. You had to commit to tank from the start to be in a good position. Tanking this year is really stupid. Actually, tanking this year is almost impossible because of the parity in the league. Even the teams that are trying to lose are actually not that many games out of being in competitive positions in both conferences. If you look at the disparity between teams, there's not a lot. So like even the teams deliberately tanking are not doing it so well because of the way that the draft lottery system is done. So the Heat are not going to tank. If that ends up happening, it's because they're just straight up losing so much, and guys start to sit down and sit out.
And I don't think this is what Bam was hinting at, but obviously you're not going to turn to tanking after an Eastern Conference final run. Like this summer, you couldn't have went that direction. That wouldn't have
No.
made sense.
No.
He also said after that, he said, I'm not worried because there will be a 1-5 dogfight for the top seed in the conference. As long as we're not in the play-in, I'm cool. And that's probably, if you're putting money on it, that's probably where you're ending up, somewhere in that 4 to 5, 6 range. And I know you guys did a pod about that earlier in the week.
You're right. Sorry, I've been feisty to our viewers and our commenters. I come in peace. I just, I'm trying to come with a little bit of extra oomph because the team is not bringing it. What's up, Lynette? Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sponsoring this program. Let's keep our 2023 pick, please. We need young, fast blood. You are so spot on. And the way that they've picked recently, particularly Tyler and Bam, and we'll see what happens with Jovic, but I think Precious Achua also has been a pretty good pick. You're right. Keep the pick, no doubt. All right. Any other comments, Manny, before I throw Sean a question, a fun one? All right. Levy Shaw. Sean, go ahead with this.
Levy says Kyle Lowry and Tyler don't go to the start together. Don't do good at the start together, I'm assuming. Give Lowry the Dragic treatment. I mean, in my opinion, and I know a lot of times we allow multiple people to handle the ball, I don't like Tyler being the primary ball handler with that starting group. He can do it at times. He can be that scorer, but I don't know if that's going to produce great offense. I'll do the next one too. Jay says, Greg getting cold for Christmas with all these words he's saying. I know it's cold outside, but Greg is bringing the fire. The whole country is cold with this polar vortex, but Greg is just bringing the heat tonight. I don't know what's going on.
This is how I cope, y'all, because I don't like watching this either. Like let's be honest, this does suck to see this team squander a season so far. I hope that they can get back on track. All right, Sean, here's the question, and you can't answer LeBron and you can't answer Dwayne. If you could add one player, past or present, so they could be in the league still, to this Heat team, that you think that one player, just by adding them, would fix things and get things on track most, what one player from Heat history would you add to the 2022-23 Miami Heat?
You said no LeBron, no Dwayne?
Yeah, because, like, come on.
I got you. Yeah. I think the easy answer that first popped in my head is Bosh, because it gives you another big, which gives you rebounding. He also gives you the 3-point shooting. He also is a good distributor. He can do those different types of things. Whether he plays the 5 or Bam plays the 5, it doesn't really matter because it gives you another guy that can go out there and get buckets. The other person I thought is about Zoe, and that gives you that big that a lot of people want, that defensive presence, the rebounding, the fiery, and maybe a little leadership. Maybe this team needs a little bit of, someone to kick their ass in practice and do some of that type of stuff. So one of those two guys.
I love it. Yeah, I'll take 2006 Alonzo off the bench. You talk about needing some front court help. And Bosh is just the perfect fit. Like, I'm getting nostalgic, y'all, because again, this is Christmas, and this is how we're going to try to cope through the holiday season with the Heat struggling. There's some other good answers from the chat that I want to rattle off quickly. Jose says Shane Battier. He would fix a lot of stuff. Anthony, Eddie Jones could help as well, but ultimately, I don't know him and Jimmy would be a fit from a character perspective. Luke Babbitt, Josh McRoberts, Levy, you need to stop that. Van Lee, Michael Beasley. You know what? They could use his offense, but they got defensive issues too. Willie Reed, shout out to Willie Reed. I think he's still playing overseas, maybe. But these are good names that we're hearing.
Lamar Odom,
great one. That's how we're closing the show. Lamar Odom would really, really help this team. That is a good one. And Tyler Johnson's missing tooth, not Tyler Johnson, his missing tooth. Thank you for joining us. We are trying to make you smile at least a little bit during what has been a tough season of ups and downs, but we'll be with you. We're sticking with you no matter what. You will find us covering your favorite basketball team, our favorite basketball team. Happy holidays to everybody who watches. Please be safe out there. Stay warm. Hopefully, the Miami Heat can warm up, because like what's happening in this damn country with the weather is happening with this damn team on the court, and it has to stop immediately. Have a great weekend. Happy holidays. Good night.